When I think of difference makers or stardom like talent on this Packer team, which by the way is so young, youngest team in the league for the last 2 years, probably going to be a third straight year. But there's some names that come to mind on this Packer roster on their offensive line, guys like Elton Jenkins or Zach Tom, and then Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, Edrin Cooper, which, by the way, that dude is going to be an elite player in this league. Mark it down. Guys like Rashawn Gary that are complete difference makers. But PFF put out an article that projected a Green Bay Packer on the roster right now that I didn't mention that's could be a breakout player and could be a star in 2025. It says right here NFL breakout team projected per PFF, and then it goes on to state that below is a team of projected breakout stars, and they kind of go position by position. There's 20 of them on this list, and the Packers have one guy of the 20 guys in the league that they mentioned as breakout stars for 2025. By the way, one of them is former Wisconsin running back Braylon Allen. If you didn't get a chance to watch him last year with Aaron Rodgers, you really missed a show. This dude, you can tell, has some crazy talent. Braylon Allen. If I'm Brees Hall on this team, I'm looking at a guy like Braylon Allen who just seems to run hard on every play. He makes you, if you're a defender, he would make me question whether or not I want to run up there and tackle a guy like Braylon Allen. But he is going to be a stud right there. And then for the Green Bay Packers on this list, it's Jordan Morgan. Okay, so not a complete surprise that Jordan Morgan falls on a list, but a stardom type list, a breakout star. Leave your comments. Let me know. Are you surprised by that? Do you agree with that? I happen to, man. I'm hopefully optimistic when it comes to that statement there, but it says based on their hallmark offseason moves, the Green Bay Packers intended to make life easier for Jordan Love by bringing on Aaron Banks and then drafting Matthew Golden. And then it talks about moving and shuffling Elton Jenkins from right guard to center, and then there's projected leaving a hole there that Aaron Banks is going to be filling, which, by the way, Aaron Banks, that's a solidified position. I don't see that changing given the money that they went out and spent on him, given the difference maker he is as far as opening up holes. And when you got a running back like Josh Jacobs in your backfield, and then Marshawn Lloyd, you need some beef up front, guys to move the piles, and certainly Aaron Banks is one of them. So you got him, you've got Elton Jenkins at center, and you've got Zach Tom at right guard or right tackle. Those are the solidified, cemented positions. And then when it comes to left tackle or even right guard, it's kind of up in the air. Okay. So, and that's kind of what they're talking about. And they're saying that Jordan Morgan, they project that he will be a starter. And then they also project that he is going to become a star in this upcoming year. So his RAS coming out of Arizona, which, by the way, I mean, coming out of Arizona, this dude he gave up 3 sacks and 30 total pressures his final 2 seasons at Arizona. He's pretty good. Okay. Hence why the Green Bay Packers and Brian Gutekunst stretched a little bit. He was going to be drafted either late first round, and the Commanders were talking about trading up to get him late first round if he didn't fall to them in the very early second round. That being said, Brian Gutekunst probably could sense that, and he didn't want to lose out on some elite talent when it comes to Jordan Morgan. Why do I say elite talent? Well, look at his RAS score, 9.25 out of a 10. He's quick. He's got good size. Now, the only knock on him as a tackle is his arm length, hence why they kind of were shuffling him around at guard, because as an NFL player, given his arm length, he's better suited as a guard, but he's used to playing left tackle only in college. That being said, the Packers moved him around between him and Sean Ryan. They kind of went back and forth of, okay, Jordan Morgan got some starting reps. Sean Ryan got some starting reps until Jordan Morgan went out for the season with an injury. That being said, you look at Sean Ryan's overall PFF score, he's got a 62 overall. His pass blocking grade is nearly a 70. It's a 69.4. His run block grade is a 58.4. Certainly could use some improvement there on the run blocking grade. Let's take a look at Rasheed Walker, who, when we start talking about Jordan Morgan potentially taking over a starting role, it happens to be at left tackle, position he's used to playing in college. He would be taking over Rasheed Walker. I don't necessarily like that because I really like Rasheed Walker. I really do. I know he's coming up on a contract year and you're going to have to pay him. And they're already talking about restructuring a deal for Zach Tom. That's certainly a guy that you need to bolster and retain in Green Bay, especially when you have an asset in Jordan Love. You need some protection, and Zach Tom is that guy to give it to you. That being said, they're trying to rework a contract there and with Quay Walker currently. They're talking through all of that. They'll probably get something done before training camp begins. But you've got Sean Ryan and Rasheed Walker, who are talented, but yet, if you get a guy with some elite talent like Jordan Morgan's supposed to have, then that's a guy that can easily overtake one of these two positions. Now, which one is it going to be? I don't quite know, but Rasheed Walker, when you look at his overall PFF at a 68.4, he's got a pass. He's really good pass blocker, and when you're protecting Jordan Love's blind side, I really want somebody that's going to be elite in that area. And I would say that Rasheed Walker is, maybe just below elite when it comes to pass blocking. He's at a 79.6. I think anything 80 and above is pretty freaking good. But then you got a run block grade of a 54.1. Again, you bring in a guy like Aaron Banks to help push the pile. He's certainly going he's certainly going to bring that to this offensive line, but you don't want to give up much when it comes to pass block grade. And both Sean Ryan and Rasheed Walker, they don't score amazingly well when it comes to their run block grade. And thankfully for the Green Bay Packers, they've got a guy like Josh Jacobs who gets a ton of yak yards. But I want to know your thoughts. If you were to project that Jordan Morgan's going to take over a starting role or starting position, which one would you want it to be? In my opinion, I personally like Rasheed Walker at left tackle for now. Now, whether or not Jordan Morgan gets some snaps and some reps, and depending on injuries, maybe he can take a few snaps throughout the years. But throughout the year. But I would really like to see him overtake the right guard position for Sean Ryan. And given the fact that I think there could be some improvement there, Sean Ryan's a good offensive lineman. I don't see him as a great offensive lineman, let alone an elite offensive lineman. So that's my 2 cents on that. I really want you guys to leave your comments on that. I think the Packers potentially have a star in the making when it comes to Jordan Morgan, which is great news for Packer fans because we went out and spent a first-round draft pick on this dude. Now PFF is recognizing it as a potential breakout player and star this year. Leave your comments, and as always, go Pack Go.